I have with me the new US Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti. Many thanks for speaking with NDTV. You're finally here in India.
It feels great.
All right, I'm sure it will, and you'll be immediately starting off work.
Yes.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to the US for a state visit in a couple of months.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 priority areas that the two sides are looking at in their relationship?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be back in India. It feels like I've come home to a place that I've spent time throughout my life, and a lot has changed in India, but one thing that hasn't changed is the warmth of this country, the values that undergird who you are here in India. And I think that the visit of the Prime Minister will reflect the growth. The one thing that has changed since I came here first when I was 14 years old is India and the United States have never been closer. And it's not just the material things that we're doing together. It's not just the growing economic and political military ties. It's really the warmth of the people, from our leaders all the way down to everyday citizens. My priorities are first and foremost peace, to promote greater peace within and our countries and across the world, whether it's threats from climate, whether it's our mutual strategic interests, to do whatever I can to strengthen India's position and America's position to promote peace in the world. Second is prosperity for our people and for the world. India's economic rise is breathtaking, and I think America's economic ambitions are equally big. We want to see a world in which supply chains are diversified, which women are empowered, jobs get down, so that the poorest people in our countries have an avenue to be able to reach the middle class and to have greater prosperity. And then people to people. I think that Indians know and love America and Americans very well. Americans, quite frankly, don't know India as well. And so part of my goal is to bring more of India to America, not just Indians to America, and to encourage more Americans to invest here, visit here, study here, and really to have those people-to-people ties that will long last this moment and create a new generation of American-Indian friendship.
Since you refer to the economic ties and they are important for the two countries, US is India's largest trading partner. A CII report has recently said that Indian companies are generating jobs in America.
Yes.
Then why do the two sides hesitate in going a step further and having a trade deal to iron out bottlenecks and have negotiated positions?
We're so excited by how deep economic ties have become. I was just in Washington, D.C., leading the delegation that came from India. The number one country that came to the big Select USA conference we had was from India. Over 240 different businesses were there, doing things like, as you said, investing in steel in America, to take old plants and modernize them, to create wind turbines so that we can confront climate change and have more American jobs. I think you're exactly right. The time is ripe to continue to go further. And IPEF, the Indo-Pacific Economic Forum, is a great first step. It's flexible. It isn't just one agreement, but it is more of a mechanism to say whether it's supply chains, whether it's new technologies, whether it's workforce training, we can have this now be a platform for greater prosperity on both sides. So we're very excited to have India so engaged, to have our Commerce Secretary, Gina Raimondo, have a very successful visit here. And I think that that momentum will really take us to a new economic level. And hopefully both sides can take some of the old scripts and toss them in the trash can as we write a new chapter together.
Are there any specific sectors where you see good potential for growth?
Absolutely. First and foremost in technology, whether that's space, whether it's defense technology, whether it's telecoms. You know, I think one thing that India and the U.S. share is that we want values to be the foundation of economic progress. So we don't want, in contrast to other countries where things like technology can be used against people, we want it to empower people. I mean, look at the Mitaiwala now who takes on the street some sort of digital payment. That's leapfrogged the United States and teaches us a good lesson. While at the same time, America can share lessons that we've had on women's empowerment, on educating a workforce. We really, I think, see this moment as not just a moment to take the top up, but to really raise up the bottom as well in both of our countries.
So I'm curious to know whether this relationship between India and the United States is based purely on the merit between the two countries, or are the two countries being driven closer because of China?
I would say it's a third reason. I think we really like each other. I think we're natural friends. There's something natural about the U.S.-India relationship. It's not transactional. It's relational. Secondly, then we realized not only do we have an affinity for each other, but we do have mutual interests. And it's never going to be defined by any outside party. We might have China or others where we have the same worries. For you, it's borders. We share those concerns for you. But we both share the concern of any one country in the world manufacturing all of the solar cells or controlling all of the critical minerals. We have a mutual interest in making sure that that's shared across all of our borders. But I really do think it stands on its own merits, on its own affinity, and on its own warmth. And to me, that gives me a lot of confidence that this isn't about a strategic moment. This is about two countries and two peoples that want to spend the next century together.
But in a period of geopolitical flux with the ongoing war in Ukraine, do you see India's task cut out as far as its G20 presidency is concerned and getting a consensus going for the September summit?
I've been very impressed with India's G20 leadership, and I think it comes from the way that India really is a bridge between the past and the future, between east-west, north-south. And we stand with India on those aspirations to make sure that G20 isn't just about this moral moment in Ukraine. And we won't stop speaking out very strongly about an unprovoked invasion, a war from Russia. I think Indians understand how important borders and sovereignty are. At the same time, we know that there are relationships that have been there for many decades, and we hope to continue to work on that aspect, but not at the expense of doing the other 80% of the work that's before us. We need to make sure that women are empowered throughout this world. We need to make sure that we have a diverse supply chain. We need to make sure we're ready for the next pandemic. We need to make sure that Africa and Latin America and other parts of the world have leadership that sometimes India can lead and we can back up and follow. So I'm very excited to be ambassador here on a year not only when Prime Minister Modi will come to the United States, but President Biden will be able to come here as well. That's historic. I don't know that's happened in any of our history together, that within 3 months, 2 months really, we'll have both leaders in each other's countries.
So the West and the U.S. commit themselves to make India's presidency of G20 a success?
Absolutely. We are committed to that. And not only have we demonstrated that on the content, we've had cabinet secretaries, other VIPs coming here for all of these ministerials, because we want to make sure that this is a success not just for India, but a success for the world.
One bilateral issue now, and this is with regards to the visas. They have been a bit of a problem over the last couple of years. Things seem to be getting better, but do you believe that by this summer, which we've already hit, leading up to fall, things will smoothen out completely?
Absolutely. And the President said, Eric, go fix this. It's not just a 10th or 11th priority. It's a number one priority for me. I think visas touch more Indians more directly than anything else that America does. And look, it's a good problem to have. More and more Indians want to come to the United States to study as tourists, for some of our investments together. And we're committed to solving this problem. Already, wait times are down 60% since the beginning of the year. In January, February, and March, we processed a record number of visas. And this last year, the largest source of student visas came from India, from any country in the world to the United States. So hold on in the next few weeks, and I think when our leaders get together, you'll see a series of announcements. But even before that, we are prepared for the student visa season right now, and I think people will continue to see shorter and shorter wait times and better results, because we want more Indians to continue to come to America.
So you've spoken about how climate is very important to you, and you've done a lot of work as the LA mayor as well in the past. Are there any learnings that you'd like to share with India?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up in Los Angeles, where we had the worst air quality anywhere in the United States. And it took everyday people, business, and government coming together, not only to clean up our air, but then later to reduce our emissions. And I'm blown away. I actually saw Prime Minister Modi, the one time I've met him was at Glasgow at the UN climate conference. I was representing the cities of the world, including Indian cities, where 1,000 of us made the commitment to zero out our emissions by 2050, the equivalent of the fourth largest country in the world zeroing out its emissions. And I saw him also lay down a marker for India. And I've seen the remarkable progress here. But it isn't just in power generation. It has to be in the way we live, our transportation networks. So one of my priorities as ambassador is to bring the knowledge I had as mayor to say, what can I do to help India at the subnational level, states and cities, to do those things, those everyday things that will help us all confront this climate crisis, because India is on the front line, make no mistake. Indians will feel this as extremely as any population in the world, and I want to look back 20 years from now and say we not only saved the world, but we helped save India too.
My final question to you, India's come out with a sharp response to a report recently by the US CIRF. Despite that, would you want to continue to take up issues on human rights and democracy with India, considering you've said that in the past?
We share those values. I mean, I think the foundation of both of our countries is freedom, democracy, rule of law. Look, democracy is tough. I would start with humility, because in the United States, Indians can see we don't always get it right too. And friends can engage on these things without being offended from each other and learn from each other. I think there's lessons from India to teach America when it comes to democracy. And we'll never stop engaging, but we'll do it respectfully, we'll do it in the right form, and we'll engage not just with government, but with the diverse population of India, something I'm so excited to continue doing, because India's strength is in its diversity, just as it is in America.
Eric Garcetti, many thanks for speaking with NDTV.
Thank you. I look forward to many more conversations in the years ahead.
Thank you.